Hello, hello. We are back, Jack. It is the dynamic duo, and our third wheel has left us. No, I'm kidding. He hasn't left us. He's doing stuff. He's doing errands. He probably is doing something that he was supposed to do days ago. And then his other half broke out the whip and started whipping him. He'd be like, "Get this done this morning, boy."
Yeah, it's a sad situation in that household because um
You're my
the,
husband. You do as I say. That
there
one.
there are many things that go on that we just can't know and won't know and won't dare to speculate on, except that's exactly what we're doing. Oh
Yeah,
shit.
we're joking. We're joking. Jill's a wonderful lady.
Yes. Much more so than Jeremy.
Yes, indeed. Very much so. I don't know how she tolerates him. I don't know. Just
Yeah, like if somebody said to
baffles
me,
me.
okay, you have to hang out with Jill or with Jeremy, who are you hanging out with? I mean, it's Jill every time
Yeah,
because she's a lot funnier than Jeremy. Um,
she is. Jeremy's just like, he's there. He's there. He's a nice fella.
his presence is tolerated.
Yeah, yeah. The older the older he gets, the crankier he gets. You know that? Jeez, God Almighty.
I mean, who is he to get cranky as he gets older? That's my job.
I know, I know it's supposed to be yours, but
Yeah.
for some reason he's wanting to take the mantle from you. We gotta work on that.
It was like it's like it reminds me of the old British sketch comedy show that I saw where it's like they were interviewing a couple of politicians during the sketch, and the one guy is like, "You're trying to sow mistrust and fear in the populace. Well, let me tell you something. That's my job."
Yes. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We've had a long summer off. We've got a couple things here and there over the summer, maybe three or four posts that we've done for the show over the summer. We've had a lot happening over the summer, so that's life. What happens when we got to do stuff. But today is September 7th, and it is the first Sunday for the NFL season. Yeah.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
So got all my fantasy football drafts done. Game started on Thursday, of course, always Thursday. And then we had the Friday game that was in Brazil between the Chiefs and the Chargers on YouTube. I found that interesting. Yeah, it was on YouTube, which is, I watched some of the game Friday night. I think it was
I
probably like the fourth quarter when I turned it on, to be honest.
I did not. I kind of forgot that it was like available in that way because again, like I still haven't reactivated live TV, or I hadn't as of Friday, so like I didn't watch like any of the Eagles Cowboys game on Thursday because let's be honest, I'm a Giants fan. There are no teams that I hate more than the Eagles and the Cowboys.
So you're like, fuck both of them. The stadium could blow up and you can care
So
less.
so why would I want to watch that game?
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Understandable.
know, it's like also because it's not just that I dislike the teams. I hate Nick Sirianni. I think he's a dick. He's like egotistical, braggadocious asshole. Which I mean, again, you could argue, of course. Well, the best head coaches are all have a lot of that, and it's like, yeah, but Sirianni is like demonstrative in the way he goes about it. Like I'll never really be able to get over that during that Eagles Giants game a few years ago, where like after the Eagles scored, the camera caught him mugging for the camera. He was doing this like
Yeah,
nodding
yeah.
thing at the camera. It's like, dude, you're the fucking head coach. It's like they don't do this fucking fan shit on the sidelines. Don't be Wade Phillips. But anyway, so there's that, and then of course on the Cowboys side, the obligatory 20,000 shots of Jerry Jones throughout the game, and I'm just assuming because of the Parsons trade that there were a ton on throughout the game, especially I'm sure when they had the weather delay and everything. It's like I'm sure they took
Um,
plenty of time to talk about that horseshit. So I don't know.
I don't, I watched that game Thursday night. Just get the football flowing through my veins. But anyway, Um, I think they during the lightning strike, I think they did a little bit. I don't remember how much of it they did. I kind of like zoned out in that aspect until the game kind of came back on. Um, but you know, from my disdain for the Dallas Cowboys got greater as, Jerry Jones decided to trade his best player to a team that is my ultimate rival, which is the Green Bay Fudge Packers. So yeah, wasn't thrilled about that. But to be honest with you, Green Bay gave up, I think, a Pro Bowl defensive tackle to send it back to Dallas.
An aging Pro Bowl defensive tackle, though.
Yes, in aging, but
And two
whoever,
first round picks, which sound good on paper, but if the Packers are who we think they're going to be the next 2 years, those picks are going to be in the 20s. And I'm not
yes,
saying you can't find a good player in the 20s, but more often than not, you're going to get a better player in the first 10 picks than in the 20 through 30. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. So it just listen, I don't think Parsons is going to be that piece that's going to put Green Bay over the edge to win a Super Bowl. I know their odds or their favorites have gone up, regards to which is valid. I understand that, but you know, who are you replacing that defensive tackle with? You still have to make sure Love is consistent enough to put a full season together to have a good playoff run too. So, he still has question marks with that. Still thinks he has to prove. But nonetheless, I mean, it is what it is. We'll see how the season plays out in regards to that. I just want my team, the Bears, to have a winning record. That's all. I'm just looking for consistency this year, to keep it going. Hopefully, all the changes they've made is going to be in a positive aspect. I know we have some injuries that are going to hurt us a bit on Monday night, but hopefully we can overcome them and beat Minnesota. We are playing at home, but sometimes that doesn't always mean anything in that aspect. But yeah, what the other thing too. Um, it's very interesting that Jerry would trade that player to the team, and that has kind of whooped their asses multiple times in the playoffs in the past like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it was. I don't remember the specific numbers, but yeah, I found that fairly interesting. But I guess maybe Jerry and the staff were just at this point, it didn't matter who he went to as long as it wasn't a division rival, like the Eagles showed interest in Parsons. So I guess it didn't matter who we went to as long as it wasn't within the division, which I get. You don't want to
right,
give.
that's the whole thing. It's like my biggest fear was not that I knew thought that they could really make it happen with the cap or anything like that. But my biggest fear was Parsons somehow ending up with the Eagles. So I was like that would have like just like it's like gotta watch Barkley there as it is.
Yeah,
So,
imagine
I,
imagine that storyline that could have been, one year, the Giants don't re-sign Barkley. He goes to the Eagles the next year.
and then win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he wins the Super Bowl, and then the next year, Dallas can't re-sign Parsons, and they trade him to the Eagles with question mark on how that season goes. Like that would have been like, wow, a crazy storyline within the NFC East there. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it didn't happen. So we'll see. Fourth quarter though, when I was watching that Chiefs Chargers game, the Chargers looked really good. I did draft Herbert for one of my teams. I kind of feel that Herbert is everywhere every year since he's been in the league, oh yeah, it's Herbert's time, we feel it. But I think more this year because he's in year two of being under Harbaugh. So I think that's going to be beneficial for him. Um, and he did really well in that game against Kansas City, to be honest with you. So I think it might be his year where he's going to cement himself as of this season, he might be a top five quarterback for the 2025 season, to be honest. I kind of felt a little bit of that watching that game on Friday night.
Mhm.
He didn't seem to make any like crazy mistakes, and he was playing well. So let's see if they can put together a run for the Chargers this time.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like you said, like everybody's always like, "Oh, this is gonna be Herbert's year. This is gonna be the breakout year, and everything." So it's like, well, beating the Chiefs week one is a good start.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people, I'm trying to remember where I saw something this week that seemed that like people were kind of bearish on the Chiefs. I think it was probably the Athletic, but it may not have been in terms of like the AFC West. I think it was more in terms of the AFC. Like I think it was like their like prediction article, and God only knows if I can fucking find it now. But it was saying it was like probably polling just like their beat writers and shit and like predictions for the year. But I want to say where it was like who will win the AFC. I think the Chiefs came in third.
Hmm.
Like I think people had the Ravens and the Bills ahead of
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Um,
that's the majority of what I've been seeing. Ravens, Bills, and then Chiefs have been third. Some people had the Bills first, Ravens second, Chiefs third, but Chiefs have been third for the majority of what I saw. I mean, to be honest with you, those really are, as of right now, those are the top three teams in the AFC. And then you have another handful of teams that are going to compete against them, like the Chargers, the Broncos, um, the two I could think of off the top of my head. Um, let's see. I mean, looking at the AFC, Chargers, I said, Broncos, I said, I don't know. Pittsburgh could be up there too. Cincinnati. I'm sorry, that's the other team that people are high on this year. Um, but just looking at all the rest, I think the rest of the AFC, besides those teams I just mentioned, is really a crapshoot, to be honest. So you have, let's see, let me go back here. We have Baltimore, Buffalo, Denver, Kansas City, Chargers, Cincinnati, and maybe Pittsburgh. I would say put those in my top echelon. Well, let's leave Pittsburgh out for right now. The rest of them will be my top echelon. And then you have the question marks of Pittsburgh, the Raiders, Jacksonville, the Dolphins. New England could be a surprise. They got who's a wide receiver that went there? Was it Stephon Diggs? I think Diggs is the guy who went uh to New England. That could be a surprise. There's just a lot of uncertainty with the rest of the AFC after those teams, honestly.
yeah,
The NFC, I think is kind of the same. You have your top groups of teams, and then after that, it's kind of like, where's everyone else going to fit within that? I mean, people are really high on the Rams this year. I mean, Minnesota to me is going to be good, but still a question mark on how JJ McCarthy is going to play. People are still, they have the Eagles, the Commanders, Detroit, Green Bay, um, San Francisco, and the Rams as kind of like, the top teams, and everyone else. There's a couple teams like, Tampa Bay, Seattle, Arizona, Minnesota that are going to be kind of like, what are we going to get out of those teams this year? And also, let's see how a lot of these rookie quarterbacks play in their second year of the season, um, in regards to that aspect. You had good seasons from Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix last year, but at the same time, those quarterbacks were put in situations not where they had all good offensive weapons, but they had a good coaching structure. So you could tell the difference from rookie quarterbacks that go into a situation where they have a good head coach, good offensive coordinator, good quarterbacks coach, to other rookies who are in situations where not so much. So we'll see. I don't think we're going to see a big drop off for the sophomore seasons for a lot of these quarterbacks, to be honest with you. I think they'll probably have the same type of seasons they had last year, pretty much on par.
it's going to be interesting in a lot of ways. Like I don't know what to expect out of my team. I should be able to see them today because they're going to be on. The Eagles not playing today helps. So like I don't need Sunday ticket. I just need to have live TV. So I'll
Yeah,
either get my sister's YouTube password so I can watch it on the TV in here. Or I'll just have to go downstairs and watch it and make her watch it, which she's probably not going to want to do. So I'll be like, all right, give me your goddamn password then. Don't be like, I don't know what it is. I was like, you just activated the fucking account, so don't give me this shit.
yeah,
But
it's not that big of a deal.
well, it's like some of the teams you mentioned. It's like again, I wish I could find this damn article in the Athletic, but I can't seem to. Maybe if I actually go to their website, which I always forget that exists too. Just so used to clicking on the fucking app.
I know. It's kind of one of
Um,
those things.
Uh, oh yeah, see, that's the problem because it never remembers my login information. So just scroll down here. Like you mentioned, like the Dolphins as an example. Um, One of the things in that prediction article that they had as far as like questions and everything was like uh who will be the first coach fired? Well,
Hmm.
Mike McDaniel got some votes for that.
Well, I mean, valid.
So it's hard to figure the Dolphins in a lot of ways, I think. It's going to be hard to figure a bunch of teams, I think. And you know, if there's one thing that anybody loves to do, that everybody loves to do, really, is overreact to week one
Of course.
because we're all fucking addicts and we're so addicted to football. So once we get that football back, all we got to do, I mean, obviously, you know, of course, fucking ESPN.
Doesn't
Um,
help with
well,
that.
yeah, I was going to say, like, ESPN doesn't even talk about football nonstop anyway, even when it's the middle of the summer when they should be talking about fucking baseball and like hockey and basketball playoffs. They still spend more time talking about the fucking NFL. Um,
Which drives me crazy, to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah. Why does it not?
So the games I'll be able to see down here in North Carolina are CBS is showing Pittsburgh and the Jets, which is funny because two former quarterbacks are playing for opposite teams this year, going against each other in week one. And then on Fox, of course, the local state team, Carolina Panthers at Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'll be watching one or both of them. And then 4 o'clock or 4:30 on CBS, I get to see Detroit at Green Bay. All right, yay. Don't really care, but I'll probably watch. Maybe depends what I'm doing.
Yeah,
But
like I'm going to be interested to see, because I'm not paying for Sunday ticket. I'm just not. Just
well, you could do the monthly payments of $38, $36 a month.
yeah.
They have that option. Actually, to be honest with you, they do something too,
You
like
have
half.
that luxury.
They do option too, like halfway through the season, they cut the price and like by like 60% off.
Yeah, it's the same thing that MLB TV does.
So
Throughout the season, they start like saying, "Oh, you only this much for the rest of the season," and
yeah, yeah. So I mean, at some point you'd be like, oh, you can just do that. But
so
those
like
people,
next week, for example, the Giants play at the Cowboys. It is fucking crazy that the first two games that the Giants have are on the road. I don't understand how in the NFL you would wait until week three for a team to have their home opener.
yeah, it's a bit weird. I don't
And
understand why they do that.
that fucking home opener for the Giants is a goddamn Sunday night game against the Chiefs.
Oh, splendid.
Yeah. But so next week the Giants play at the Cowboys on Fox at 1 o'clock. The Eagles play at the Chiefs on Fox at 4:25. So there's a chance I could see the Giants next week. But
They
I don't
probably will.
I won't know for sure until they like release like the map or whatever because obviously the Giants and Eagles aren't playing at the same time, so there's no conflict there. The fact that the Eagles Chiefs game is 4:25 on Fox means it's Fox doubleheader day. Because if
Yes.
you know that's how you know which network has the doubleheader, but based upon if the late games start at 4:05 or 4:25.
Yep.
Um, but let's see what other games Fox has scheduled for 1 o'clock next week. Bears Lions,
You're regional. You'll still see yours.
49ers Saints,
Mm.
and Seahawks Steelers. So that one could fuck it up.
It could, but I think you should still be able to see a Giants based on your location.
See, I look at it this way. So this is the Philadelphia market. Wouldn't Philadelphia fans rather see the game with two of their divisional rivals than Pittsburgh?
They hate Pittsburgh just as much too.
Well, I
But
know, but it's like
I get what you're saying
to,
though.
to me, it's
Yeah.
like it should always be the game that's more relevant to that particular market. And again, and here's the other thing too, to the Philadelphia market, New York is closer than Pittsburgh,
Hmm,
but
definitely is.
they don't always do this, as I found out over the last couple of years. Like somebody might say, "Oh, well, Bears Lions is the better matchup," in which arguable. I mean,
Yeah, we don't know.
so I don't know. It just we'll see. So the wacky, wonderful world that is the NFL broadcasting and why they've extorted us all into paying for Sunday ticket for so many fucking years. But only if you had DirecTV. It's like, oh, and now they made it to something where it's like, a lot more accessible because anybody can get YouTube TV. I'm like, good. That's a good thing. And then we're going to charge you, $500 or what it fucking basically is for the package. Oh, fuck you.
Or 80 something.
Yeah, whatever the fuck it is, it doesn't matter.
42 or 40.85.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's ridiculous. So
It's still pricey. They really need to have an option where you can, like the NBA does. I don't know if Major League Baseball does because I get it free because I'm a T-Mobile subscriber. But
oh, fancy Dan.
yes, right. Um, but I do know the NBA does because I do this for the NBA version. I think NHL does it too. I forget, I had to look. But the NBA does it where you do the whole NBA, or you can pick a specific team and pay to watch those games only. That's something like I think the NFL needs to adopt. Like you're still going to make money off of it,
Yeah,
but
if I
you
had an option where I could pay to watch just the Giants without having to
correct.
pay several $100s for it, I would definitely be interested. I'm not saying I definitely would do it, but it's much more likely that I would.
Yeah. I think what is it for the NBA? Let me pull that up because it's not. I mean, everything's fucking pricey these days, but um
Yeah, it's like what doesn't cost an arm and a leg anymore. Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing. Let me
Why are you giving me this? I have a fucking subscription. Go fuck yourself.
okay, so here's the thing here.
Did I
Okay.
log in with the wrong account or something?
All right, so League Pass to watch it on one, so they made some changes, which is fine, which is fine. Um, okay, so here we go. This isn't actually bad. So if you want for the NBA League Pass, if you want to watch all the games on just one device, they're doing this device thing. So one device with commercials, whatever, alternate broadcast, it's 109 for a season.
That's not entirely unreasonable.
And that's the whole NBA. If you want to watch just one team, only follow one team, get team pass to follow any out of market team. It's $89. That's legitimately it.
Okay.
So that's if you pay for it up front. Like they have a monthly thing. If you want to pay 16, it's 16.99 a month for the all of it, or it's I think 14.99 or 13.99 if you do one team or something like that. I just went ahead and I usually just buy it straight out. So if you want to do up to three devices at one time, then it's $159. So they're charging you an extra $50 to watch it on up to three devices.
Yeah.
But $110 to watch any NBA team you want is fairly reasonable. And 89 and $90 for one team to me is fairly reasonable
Yeah.
compared to what the NFL does. And
Well, see,
it's less games. Think about that.
yeah.
You're able to watch 82 games for one team for $90.
Well,
But
yeah, the
yet
NFL,
we're
but
watching 17 games for fucking $482. You know what I mean?
the other problem though is that the NFL thinks their shit doesn't stink, thinks that their product is worth so much more than everything else, which unfortunately a lot of the stuff bears that out. Like the team valuations and shit. Like, hey, did you see how much a 10% stake in the Giants just went for?
Yep.
I'm gonna try to ignore that because of the people who bought that 10% stake. Um, but yeah, I almost think it's twofold. I think it's probably the NFL probably doesn't want to do that because they don't want to try to put a valuation on one team's games, like one team's worth of games. And also because they probably say, well, this game's going to be on national TV and that game's going to be on national TV. So it's like, it wouldn't even be for 17 games, it'd be for like 14. And it's like, they're also probably saying, no, you need to watch the whole product. You can't just watch your own team. And it's like, what the fuck did you think people were doing on Sunday Ticket? People were watching it to make sure they could see their own team, to make sure that they could see their own team.
Yep, no one was
And
buying that
and
shit
any
to
other
watch
games,
other games.
they watch, they watch just because they were on and because they were already plunked down in front of the fucking TV watching fucking football.
Yeah, there's unfortunately there was nothing on there. No fans are buying that shit to fucking watch all the games. If there is, kudos to them, and it's a small number, but the majority of the people are buying that shit so they can watch their specific team. That's
Yeah.
it. That's all they were doing.
Well, it's
I
this is just the way it's going. It's like they created a system where it was like you could only back in the day, man, you could only see 2 games a week if we were lucky. You know, okay, and then innovation occurred, satellite TV, what have you. And all of a sudden there was this way to be able to see games, every game. And it was great, whether it was just, even if it was just watching on Red Zone channel. And no, I don't want to, I'll just casually throw it out and mention it here, but that big hunk idiot with his comments about, oh, if you can't stand to watch a couple commercials while watching Red Zone channel. No, no, you're missing the point, asshole.
Yep.
When you've created something and you've always presented it one way, and then you decide to present it a different way, where that different way that you're presenting it is to extract money from people, which is what every kind of price increase that these packages have ever had, or adding commercials to Red Zone channel is, it's going to piss people off. And if you don't understand that, fuck you, stop being a goddamn corporate shill. I'm sorry. You look at it from the fucking fan perspective. Prices of everything have been going up so much over the last several years, not just this. So we want to just be able to distract ourselves and just, enjoy something for a little while. And then they do stuff to prevent that. Again, it's something that Lewis Black said years ago about how he watches the Super Bowl every year. And he said one of the reasons he watched the Super Bowl every year was because the NFL had done everything in their power that they could to make it unwatchable.
Yep.
Fuck you, I'm gonna watch it anyway, is what he said.
Yeah.
But that's also the problem. They know we're gonna watch it anyway.
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Let's
it's like,
see.
but when you start presenting something one way and then you start making changes to it, which again is just about extracting every last dime out of somebody. And again, we're seeing this, of course, with WWE right now too. It's like, hey, they got this show coming up in 2 weeks, and I'm not going to be able to watch it unless I want to shill out $30 a month, which I don't.
And here's the thing, like I still don't see, I keep reading different things. I feel like
But again,
so
but my point real quick was that we got used to being able to watch it a certain way, and now you've decided to take that away from us in the name of lining your own coffers.
yeah.
So
Yeah, no, it's
you can't expect that when people have been paying $10 a month for something that they're going to suddenly pay $30 a month and be okay with it. You fucking cock, Nick Khan.
no, you know what? That's very true. But there are gonna be a shit ton of people who are going to do it.
Oh, there are.
And so it's an interesting aspect. It's funny. I just going on the NHL Center Ice is what it's called. Only one of the websites actually you can only look. It doesn't look like you can get this separately like the NBA does, unless I'm missing something. So I have to log into my Spectrum and see how much it is. But like one of the cable companies charges $70 a month to watch Center Ice, and that's
Mhm.
any team, which I believe that is correct because I think Center Ice is definitely on the cheaper end. Let's see. Mm, I know you can also get it, I think, on ESPN Plus as well. because
But
they
does
gave.
ESPN Plus still exist anymore, or is that the $30 thing now,
Well, as far as like what I've been reading on that it's not called ESPN Plus, just ESPN, but all the content that you had from an ESPN Plus subscriber you still get. So none of that's taken away. So the thing about it is
Yeah,
like
because I actually need to investigate that because I have the Disney Hulu ESPN bundle.
so do I. So it's going to be one of those things where once September 20th comes, I want to because I read one website says one thing, another website says, oh, they've made changes, and it's this, and then another website says something different. So I'm getting like three different things. So to be honest with you, I have no idea what I'm going to be able to have access to until September 20th and see what happens. But then on the flip side, I read a new article talking about all the cable companies where that if you have a cable subscription with these people, you can activate the Disney app through there, and you'll be able to watch like the $30 content that you'll get the unlimited ESPN. So I'm like, I already have Spectrum that's included in my rent. We have a an entertainment package that I pay $75 a month for that's within my rent. So that gives me wireless high-speed cable, one direct connection, and then we get one cable box, which is I think it's like their the lowest tier, which is their select tier, but nonetheless, and then I can like download the app on as many TVs I want to watch TVs in different rooms. But anyway, um, it says if I have, Spectrum's on that list where if you log in with your Spectrum credentials or activate it in a certain way, then I'll be able to watch it. So I'm kind of like, gonna find out what happens on September 20th. If
Yeah,
I'm gonna be able to see it or not see it or whatever I'm gonna need to do. It's gonna be, I think there's so much different information. I'm just gonna, find out because I go into my app now and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there, like WWE content's there, but
hmm
have the option to go to WWE, but I don't know
and,
what's
and
going to come from that after September.
and this is kind of the problem with when you essentially hot shot, to use the wrestling terminology here, when you hot shot a deal like this and try to get it so fast and you don't really have all the information out there, or you throw mixed messaging out there as far as what it actually covers and everything. So like here's like the article I got from Cage Side Seats a couple weeks ago. Per ESPN, subscribers to Hulu Plus Live TV, DirecTV streaming only, as opposed to what people who have DirecTV, like my parents, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Fubo TV or Spectrum TV will have access to what it calls ESPN Unlimited as part of their existing pay TV packages. Brandon Thurston and Sports Business Journal both report that Verizon subscribers will also get access. What do you mean by Verizon subscribers? I need to look at this now because I have Verizon Mobile.
It's
That's my
Verizon.
cell phone service.
It's Verizon Fios.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So it's like,
I saw that and I looked it up because I was like, oh shit, because you have Verizon. So and AJ has Verizon, but then when I clicked on it, I'm like, oh, it's for Fios. And yeah,
right. So the journal added more deals are being worked on with notable absent names for now, including Comcast, Xfinity, YouTube TV, Dish, Sling TV, and Cox. Those are some pretty big providers, and you couldn't make those same deals with them that you did with the ones that I did mention before this is ready to go live and everything. I mean, come on. That's irresponsible. I'm sorry.
correct. Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like,
this is the shit that, of course, makes me want to just sign up for a fucking VPN.
yep. And
And
it's the
there's the funny thing, of course, I'm sure you saw this
oh
about
yeah, where
Stephanie
Stephanie plugged.
Stephanie doing an ad read for a VPN service on her podcasts,
Yep. To get the
which
Netflix from Europe.
yeah, and I'm going to guarantee you, there's no chance in hell Stephanie fully understood what using a VPN means, and that
No, she
using a
didn't.
VPN would be able to circumvent ESPN's, and all that other shit. So I guarantee you, there's no chance she knew that. So.
No, I don't think she did. I don't think she really understood the concept of that. It went to, it's
And look,
unless someone
and I don't mean that as a criticism against her either, because
no,
there's plenty of people who
absolutely.
don't really understand what VP. I still, in a lot of ways, don't fully understand what VPNs do because I don't use one. So it's like, I'm starting to understand now because I'm starting to say, maybe it's not a bad option for me. Um, but just found that hysterical. So yeah, it's like, so here we are in 2 weeks. WWE is going to be running a PLE, and for the first time in I can't remember how long now, I won't be able to see it unless I'm still using YouTube TV through my sister's thing, or just reactivate my own, because I think I've come to the conclusion that just reactivating YouTube TV makes more sense than starting up an account with Sling, with some of the different packages I'd have to sign up for on Sling to get all the channels I want. Um, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so it's like, unless something happens in the next 2 weeks here, that show in 2 weeks is going to be the first show in I don't know exactly how long now that I won't be able to watch it. And that sucks. And it's
Yeah.
all because I don't want to pay more money out than that I'm already paying for so many fucking streaming services.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, like, I understand. I think they wanted to jump on the ESPN. They didn't want to wait till the end of the year for the ESPN thing. I mean, I get it. And from what I've read, they told Peacock, hey, the amount of money you still owe us from now until like the end of the year, you can give us less money. We'll take X amount of dollars less.
Oh,
And
can they?
so yeah, I mean, it's pretty much it's they negotiated, if you let us out, then the amount of money you have to pay us, I think they dropped it by a lot too. So they're really not, Peacock's really not forking out as much money as they know they would have at the end of the year or whatever the case may be. So kudos to that. But I feel like it's one of those things like, oh, we really want to jump on ESPN, so let's do it. But they didn't really. It's like one of those things. We'll just play it by ear. You know what I mean? They just kind of they're winging it to a little bit, because you saw all these other providers that are not going to be able to give, they have to negotiate. So those people are going to be forced to pay the $30 or wait, not watch it, or watch it on illegal link streams, people, to then watch that stuff, or get a VPN and watch it internationally. I have no fucking clue. Um, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting situation on how they go about that in regards to it. Yes. So I just double checked for Verizon. It is, if you're a Verizon Vios customer, yeah, that's so cell phone doesn't seem like cell phone gives you the normal stuff, but it doesn't give you that specifically for that. So unfortunately, for me, I'm just gonna see what happens on the 20th, see if I have access to it. If not, I'll just log in with my Spectrum credentials and I'll link it up that way and see what happens, honestly, and go from there. It does suck though. It's again, it's the age of streaming, you know what I mean? And it's growing and it's becoming more popular and they're doing a lot of stuff with it, this, that, and the next thing. But yeah, it's kind of a hit to the fans to you, you're not reverting back to the true pay-per-view format, but you kind of are to a bit, maybe. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because back in the day again, what did every pay-per-view cost? $30.
Yeah, 30, $40 depending, $50 too, depending.
Well, it was like everything was $30 a month for the longest time when they first started doing like a pay-per-view every month. Once you got kind of like past like when they were using the in your house moniker,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and like those, because those were only like 2 hour shows and everything. Um, and then several years after that, then they started charging a little more. I think they started charging like 40 for WrestleMania. And then I'm not sure what really happened after that because I stopped buying pay-per-views for the longest time until like the network really came around.
I think some of them were still in the 50s at some point too.
Yeah, I think like WrestleMania definitely got up to like 50. I don't know about the rest.
And it's so funny how TKO negotiated for WWE to go to ESPN and they're doing $30 for the pay-per-views, but then they took UFC and flipped it to a streaming service where it's kind of like where WWE was. You just pay for the streaming service and you're going to get every single fucking UFC pay-per-view,
Yeah,
as
it's
part
like
of it, because UFC was expensive. Like you had, even with the ESPN, whatever, no matter what version of the ESPN app you had, you still had to pay extra for the UFC pay-per-views. They were like 80, $90 for a pay-per-view. So they were fucking dookie expensive.
Mhm.
So it's going to help their fan base. You're going to have more people. I think the biggest thing for UFC, what's going to hurt them is you might have less people going to places to watch the pay-per-views because Buffalo Wild Wings was a big hot spot across the US. And there's other ones, regional places that would pay to have these UFC pay-per-views to show for the place because that's bringing in people them to eat food, so on and so on. I think those places might take a small hit in regards to it, but I think their fan base, a lot of those people who go there are going to stay home now and they can still order out, but still. Um, I think their fan base is going to grow. You're going to have more people subscribe to that streaming service to watch those UFC pay-per-views because there's a shit ton of UFC fans. So, I mean, kudos to them for being able to get access to that. But it's kind of funny how they did a role reversal. Not that the WWE is going to be $80, but you're still paying like so used to only paying for the streaming service and watching a pay-per-view for so many years now. And now we're kind of reverting back to the old model in a certain aspect. I mean, it's interesting. It
Yeah.
just if you really look at like the streaming services that you have to watch WWE on, you have to have Netflix. So it depends on what version Netflix people have. They're paying for the cheap one or the more expensive one. Nonetheless, you're paying for that. You're gonna have to pay for the unlimited ESPN, $30 a month. And yeah, it's a lot because Peacock's still gonna hold NXT shows for until whatever that contract with NXT runs is done. Which then I heard TKO is going to try to take NXT and flip them over to ESPN too. And then Saturday night's main events will stay with Peacock, but they're going to be on Peacock only. They're not going to show them on national television. I mean, that's a Peacock decision. That's not a TKO decision. That's them being like, well, WWE pulled their show off of our streaming service early, so we're going to try to make some more money off this, and we're going to make Saturday Night's Main Event exclusive to the Peacock stream app itself, which I get. So yeah, that's a lot going on there with that stuff. So
And let's not kid ourselves. Um, how much longer is the WWE library on Peacock?
I don't know. I forget how much longer that will be on Peacock for. I
You
think
have
that
to you
I
have
think
to
that
almost think that it's going to be gone.
yeah, I think it I I'm guessing, but I remember finding an article. I think that's going to stay on there until the end of whatever their contract negotiation is. So that might be to the end of the year. So 2026, it might be where it starts converting over to ESPN. We will see. Guess more news on that to come. I can't remember what I saw offhand in regards to that.
When does WWE's deal with Peacock end?
And it's funny. Like, people are thinking that like TKO did this because they were losing money. Listen, every company lose money at some point, but at the same aspect, I don't think TKO is going to be in the red with these deals that they've made. They'll be in the green for a while.
Well, here's somebody who claimed on Reddit. So
Mhm. Great assault.
I don't see this anywhere, and it looks like they've been vague on the press releases. But if you look at Peacock's internal code, all WWE videos are now set to be removed on March 18th, 2026.
Yeah, there's internal codes for stuff like that. Netflix has it too. They all have it. There's some people who leak those internal codes when stuff is coming and going from um content is being removed and added to the streaming services.
But at the same time, remember they're also moving this all the Saturday night main events to Peacock. So
That's not going to be considered WWE content though.
that's,
Not the true WWE content in that aspect.
I don't know. It's just it's very confusing, and again, it's very annoying just because it's so obviously just about making every last dollar,
Mhm.
you know.
I mean, and on the flip side, it's AEW announced that they're going to be putting their pay-per-views on Max, which they still have. They got off Thriller and they made a deal with Amazon. So Amazon, you can buy their pay-per-views on Amazon for $49.
Wait a
And then
minute.
if
They got him off of what?
Thriller,
Ding 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 ding. No,
I had a feeling you wanted to stop me for that.
I know. I'm getting predictable in my old age.
It's all good.
Oh boy. I
You
guess
know,
my
so
randomness has become not so random.
work on that, buddy.
Hmm. Back to the drawing board. We're gonna have to
Heads
get a
down.
focus group together, like Cody Rhodes did in AEW. You know, it's like, okay,
Oh
give me
boy,
5 jokes for today's show.
that's funny. I don't know what the contract length for AEW is with Amazon. I'm sure it's probably like at least 1 to 2 years, but you can still order AEW pay-per-views on your local cable, like Spectrum, Cox Cable. They still Showdown pay-per-views, and then the streaming aspect, they have the deal with Amazon. But then HBO Max, they announced they're going to have it on there, and you get a $10 discount. So it's only $39 to watch their pay-per-views on, through HBO Max app. We'll see how successful that is. I mean, it's a step in the right direction. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Um, I know the HBO Max wanted to just put their pay-per-views on there for just the normal monthly service fee. Um, I think $20 off would have been better, like $29 instead of $39, but it is what it is. We'll see how that works out for AEW. Hopefully it's good. Maybe, good stuff in regards to that. We'll see. Listen, at the end of the day, dude, you know, I believe in 10 years from now, there's probably going to be 3 cable companies throughout the United States, maybe 2.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of local places that are like semi-regional, but let's be honest with the bigger ones. I think there's going to be like the 3 big ones will be consume all the others, and that's really going to be it because they're going to have no choice because even though if they have their own streaming services, streaming is just going to be the thing. You can stream on your TV. It's not like that people are just going to be watching them on their phones or the tablets. You can still stream everything on your TV. So it's still worth the aspect of doing that. But it's going to come a time where it's going to be 3 major TV cable companies, and that's pretty much going to be it. Maybe 2. Who knows? At that time. That's 10 years from now, and I will be 58 years old. So that's something I do not want to think about. So that's all right.
I'd like to think about the time when I'm 58 years old, but I don't think I'm going to get there.
I'm going to make sure you live to 150 like me. That's what's
You
going to
know,
happen.
if that happens, I guess in one way I'd be happy, and in another way I think I'd probably be like, if you remember back to all the way back to I think it was probably got to be the first season of South Park where like Stan's grandfather wanted to kill himself because he was just
God.
sick of living and everything.
Some of that stuff I remember and some of it I don't.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, man.
yes, yes, yes. But yeah, we'll see how it works out. I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm gonna see what happens when September 20th comes, if I'm able to watch it or not, and what I need to do to watch it. So we will see. We will definitely see. What time is it? It is 11. Oh, it's only 11. Huh. What are you looking up there, brother?
Oh, nothing interesting.
Oh, look at this, fans. We just got a text message in our group chat from our third wheel asking if we're still on. Of course, motherfucker, we're still on because that's what we do. We talk
Why
for
wouldn't we have?
hours.
Why would we have gone away?
Yes, I mean, come on now. Listen, it's been a long summer. We're back at it. And I haven't seen this pretty face in a long time, so we're gonna be on. We've been on for like,
I'm
well,
trying to do that thing that Rick Martel always used to do.
I mean, per my little watch thing, timer here, it says an hour and 35 minutes, but we haven't like been recording the show for that long. It's probably been like maybe an hour. Yeah, it's more than an hour.
Yeah, we were
We
talking.
were we were
We were talking.
BSing for 35 minutes before we started recording fans because that's what we do. We need to catch up sometimes. But in regards to that, let's see. Oh, there was something I was going to bring up and I forgot. That shows how old I am getting as well. Yes, indeed. So, how much wrestling have you watched in the last couple weeks, Pat?
Not a lot. I mean,
I have not watched a lot as well. I have had stuff going on with work, stuff going on with, outside of work, stuff going on with my parents. So, it's been it's a lot of life things, but
yeah, I mean, okay, so for those of you intrepid viewers of ours, I've obviously in a different location here. I have moved. So that's it's a couple weeks ago now, but that's been occupying most all of my time.
yeah, he
And I'm still
hasn't.
not,
You could tell he doesn't have his naked lady pictures up yet. So,
yeah,
working on.
I'm still not fully settled in. There's still things that need to get put away and shit like that. It's kind of a mess. So, um, and I'm admittedly a bit lazy about it because I come home from work and last thing I want to do is say, "All right, time to find a spot to put all these office supplies that I got in this little tote." It's like, who the fuck wants to do that? But it's like
Who wants
I
to
got
do
to do
boring
something.
stuff?
I got to do something because I can't just like sit around this place. So
Yeah,
I'm still just trying to figure out what the new normal is, as they say.
sometimes it takes some time to do that for
Yep.
sure.
So
100% in regards to that. Yeah, I have watched I've watched some AEW, I've watched some WWE, I've watched some TNA. I haven't watched um NXT. I think God, I'm trying to remember so much going on. I think the last time I watched an NXT show was probably a month ago, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. Sat down to watch an NXT show. I'm just I really have been just reading the results. Um, Dynamite. Sometimes I catch the whole show, sometimes only the first hour, sometimes only the second hour. Collision, I do not. I mean, yeah, Collision. I don't watch Saturday nights. The Collision. I just for some reason those shows seem to be less important per se.
yeah,
Unfortunately, so I just read the results of them. And
I
Friday
mean,
night SmackDown. Sometimes I'm able to watch some of it. Sometimes nothing at all, and I'm watching reading results and highlights.
about the
Um,
only thing that I paid attention to as far as AEW is just like a quick reading of like the recap and maybe just like a couple of videos that pop up, but nothing's been incredibly interesting for me there. I mean, again, it seems more like AEW. I like it or not. I mean, AEW seems like everybody's talking about how great the shows are, and of course, I listen to Cornette and Last, and they obviously disagree.
hmm,
Um,
and I get it.
I mean, I can see why people would be thinking that the shows are better. I'm not gonna deny that. I'm not gonna say it's like I haven't seen them, so I can't really say for sure. But it still seems like they just go from this to that with no real reason, just cause. And so anybody's saying that like Tony's
They
book,
do.
so anybody saying Tony's booking has gotten better, it's like maybe. I mean, I was very critical of them putting the Page being the one to end Moxley's reign of terror because I think it so obviously had to be Osprey, but also pretty obviously they couldn't. And somebody had to do it because you couldn't keep going on with Moxley as champ. And I don't
No,
know if they knew about Swerve's injury,
I believe
but
they did. Yeah,
because Swerve would have been a better choice than Page too. But
yeah.
um, and I'm not really one of these people who thinks that Darby would have been a good idea either. So
No, definitely not. Listen, Paige. Paige, I think was hindsight at the time. It was like, oh, why isn't it Swerve? Why isn't it Osprey? But then we come to find out, hey, they both need time off to tend to injuries, surgeries, things of that nature. So hence why it was Paige at the end of the day. Because yeah, Osprey and Swerve are definitely way better options than Pages, unfortunately, but that's the route they had to go. So, I mean, that storyline was fine. It's still, they're still a wrestling organization that they go, oh, look who's trying to get in. The third wheel, the third jabroni. Shall we let him in? I don't know. Let's give him a little bit here. And I'll click on the admit button. But as I was saying, I think it's just more one of the things where they are just more focused on wrestling in ring, and then they do their storylines secondary per se. They can say whatever they want, but that's really the gist of it from what I see on the shows. As the show's been better this year for like their wrestling content and some other storylines, absolutely. But it's one of those things where you can't compare both of them because each one is definitely way different than what the other one is. And then the third wheel decides to join and throw a bunch of happy thumbs ups. That's right. You better thumb up us. God damn it.
Thumb up your.
Notice also the difference in the setup here, as you will. Your background is clear, my background is clear, his background is blurred. What's he hiding from everyone?
Maybe he doesn't want to show everybody
That
that.
stuff. The mess.
No, well, okay, look at the stuff behind me. You can see my freaking bed over here, for crying out loud, because I don't have a separate room anymore.
I just see
So, yeah.
clothes hanging things, bars.
Yeah, clothes rack and a treadmill.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Um, so yeah, like I was saying, just their shows are better in those aspects, which it is what it is. Some of their storylines are okay, some are better than others. Do they still need to work on that? Yes. I listen, they're gonna do wrestling their way and they produce shows their
Yeah,
way because
he's gonna
they don't
he's gonna book for the sickos because that's all he cares about, it seems like.
yeah, I mean, I do think if you're going to compare 2024 to 2025 for them, 2025 has definitely been way, way better as far as the TV products concerned compared to last year by leaps and bounds. But, the pay-per-views have been good. There's some that have been some matches not so great.
Yeah.
I think this year they've had more matches where they've been lesser of a match than in previous pay-per-views. In
I'm
regards
guessing
to
we're
that,
talking about AEW right now.
correct.
Yeah.
I cannot weigh in because I haven't seen an AEW show in forever because I no longer have Max, so can't watch any of it.
You don't have Max
Nope.
when
The
Peacemaker's
subscription,
back.
the subscription that I had was canceled. So,
Pe-
and not by me.
And Peacemaker's back, and he cancels Max.
I didn't cancel it.
Somebody
The
else
person
did.
that I was borrowing from canceled it,
Well, I guess you'll have to borrow from me.
which means I should really take away their rights to borrow anything of my subscriptions.
I should probably not say that out loud though, but I did.
It's okay.
Um,
Because
no,
we're gonna get the Peacemaker then. But in regards to it, yeah. I mean, overall, the products this year has been way better than last year. But
Yeah.
there's still things that drive me crazy in regards to their product and their storylines and how they just throw shit together, how they use some of their talent. Like their women's division is very interesting right now because it's very much it's Mercedes, Tony Storm, and then pretty much everybody else. The only thing I think is beneficial for them is they're using a lot more of their female wrestlers in a lot of tag matches and things of that nature. Um, and to be honest with you, some people might like it, some people don't like it, but for me, they need to find out. I'm fine with it because they need to find out who's going to be their next star. Like after Tony and Mercedes, like I said, it's everybody else. Who do you really have? Statlander's still somebody out there. Megan Bain is really good, but like which one of them is really going to start getting to the crowd, start getting over, start having some decent promos? Like who's really going to be the next baby face or the next true heel after those two, and they need to figure that out. And I know people have been kind of dogging on some of the tag matches, botches, this, that, and the next thing. But listen, at the end of the day, they got to figure out who's going to be next up in line. Because honestly, Tony Storm, Mercedes can't you can't keep dependent on them for the whole year 2025 and going into 2026.
Yeah.
You need to have some, and there's some females that have the option, but you need to figure out who those next females are going to be.
Well, the problem is that a lot of them suck, quite frankly. A lot of them are just never going to be the people that you book around. They're just
No,
not.
there's some that are not. You could tell some are just going to be mid carders, but they've gotten several women they've signed from Stardom and stuff, and they've had good careers in Stardom. So it's going to be like you're going to have to now transition them from the Japanese programming and in ring and promos to the American style. So some of them might take a little bit longer to get used to that. A lot of them are already been on the indie scene before they went to New Japan, but this is still a bigger stage for that. So it's kind of weeding the girls out and seeing who are going to be successful and who might not, which is hence why I think Tony uses ROH as kind of a grounds. Athena is the I think is going to be the next one that will be permanently on AEW.
Then why isn't she?
Um,
She's been there for how long now?
Yeah, I mean, she's been the ROH champ, women's champ for a long time. She had her match on the pay-per-view. She did really good. It was a good match. I
But she
think
lost.
yeah, she lost, but she's still, I think she's going to be the next in line.
Okay, but what I'm saying is,
Mhm.
but she lost, so why should I believe that she can be the person?
Now, that storyline wise, they have
You
to
know,
figure that out.
this is the fault with Tony's booking in that respect. But
I mean, she
this is
looks strong in the loss, so she's not, but
this
we'll
is some
see.
this is something Cornette and Last have pointed out several times, and it's what you were talking about. Who is the next big star? Who is the next person that's like, that you can like build a company around? Because there's nobody that's out there that you can sign. There's no free agent, you know. So you got to build it as somebody that's already on your roster, and they doubt that Tony's booking plus the people themselves are capable of doing that. And I tend to agree with that. Darby's got this weird charisma about him, but he's so goddamn reckless, and he basically goes up to Tony and says, "Hey, I want to climb Mount Everest," and Tony says, "Okay." So he's gone for doing this other kind of shit, and you're not going to be able to build somebody that way. So that's going to be an issue. The injuries are an issue. I mean, somebody pointed out that there was a women's match recently, and like half the people in the match got hurt to a certain extent. So like on
Yeah,
the
I think it
show
was
that they had like a shortage of available women and everything. So it's
I
like
think that was a
they need
four-way.
they need to they need to rein this shit in too, because just for the sake of, again, Swerve's now hurt, Osprey's hurt, Kenny's got his shit going on.
Yeah,
This is the other problem that they're going to have, and God only knows when Osprey's going to be back. And if he's going to insist on wrestling the same style, he's not going to be back for long. You can
that's
fuck around with neck injuries.
That's my bet. That's my next thing I wanted
Yeah.
to bring up
Yeah.
is I think the biggest thing I understand AEW is more wrestling oriented in the ring. The shit they do,
If you want to call it wrestling.
listen, however you want to call it,
They're,
spot
they're, they're, they're,
fests.
they focus more on the in-ring action.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, the in-ring
Of
action.
that,
So
but
it's
and to
that
call it
wrestling.
wrestling is debatable.
I understand. But I think the biggest thing for them is to understand they're all capable of telling stories in the ring. It's if they choose to do it or not, if they choose to have that type of style match. And the biggest thing I fear for a lot of those AEW guys is that these injuries are going to keep piling up because of the type of in-ring style that they do. You
Yeah.
know,
It will.
New Japan is one thing, indie promotions is another thing, but you got to, and the biggest thing that drives me crazy is you gotta ring that in. You gotta ring that in and not do so much. Because I still feel that they do too much of that shit during a regular dynamite or collision show. You're doing too much of that crazy shit, that in-ring style during the TV shows. You need to tone it down and then amp it up for the pay-per-views. Um, you're going to be able to, prolong your career by doing that. And hence why, to be honest with you, I think the one that will still be there 10 years from now will be fucking MJF, because he is not, he can do it, but he doesn't do it very often, that all that crazy in-ring stuff. And he's going to be one of the guys who will be there, 10 years from now, in that company. If he hasn't gone to WWE at that time. But, like as far as that specific wrestler, he is one of those guys who will be able to be wrestling when he's in his late 40s and still be okay to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think MJF has been booked as well now as he was a couple of years ago.
No,
But
he hasn't.
He's definitely still a person that's going to have to be
utilized more,
if not
more
the
prominently.
if not the focal point, a focal point. And the reason I
Yes.
say I don't know if he can be the focal point is because he is a heel, and you don't generally build your companies around heels. I mean, not everybody is Ric Flair,
No, but he needs to
So,
be more prominent than what he is right now.
but if I
Um,
was MJF at this point too, I'd be looking at WWE's roster and seeing the age of some of those guys. And again, we have no idea what MJF's contract is. But I would maybe be hedging bets. Like let's just throw it out there. Let's say he's under contract with AEW for 3 more years. Well, in 3 more years, think of all the guys who will probably be gone from WWE. And if he's not basically circling that as this is when I'm going to be able to get a shit ton of money from WWE, you know.
yeah, I mean, I think his contract's
He,
for another
he,
4 to 5 years, but
yeah,
nonetheless, I get the concept of it.
he'd be kind of stupid to not do that. So
Yeah, you're not entertaining the offer. I mean,
yeah.
his
Well,
style would fit with WWE.
Congratulations on your marriage, MJF.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep, yep. He did get married. I saw that. Congratulations to you. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I also just as quickly sidetracked before I get back to the point I wanted to make here. I really liked MJF kind of making fun of Ronda Rousey on Twitter this past week.
oh yes,
Ronda was going off about they had me wrestling Alexa Bliss. That was so ridiculous. And MJF basically said, so you even admit she was popular and everything. She was selling merch, and that's a bad thing that you're wrestling her or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the gist.
Yeah, because she's not a strong woman.
Yeah, because like Alexa Bliss could never stand up to me. And it's like, yeah, so Ronda, I mean, I don't want to dislike you and everything, but you've made it, and you definitely have some good points about the way WWE is run, especially under Vince McMahon and everything. But you also keep showing that you fundamentally didn't understand why wrestling is different from UFC. And what works in UFC does not work in wrestling. And it's like a conversation I was recounting to my brother-in-law last night that happened 20 years ago when a guy I worked with at Suncoast was like, why do you like WWE but you don't like UFC? And I tried to explain to him that I didn't watch WWE
It's the same.
To watch two guys pretend to beat the shit out of each other. It's like, and if I watched it for watching guys beat the shit out of each other, then I would like UFC. But that's, so anyway. But the point I want to make about AEW is like, so they're obviously trying to make Hangman Page the big baby face, the champion. And I just don't think he's that guy.
For just a moment.
Maybe.
Okay, cool. So I found a way to watch AEW. So I'm watching this very interesting match, and Darby just put somebody in a body bag, and all I can think about is the Karate Kid when he's like, "Put him in a body bag, Johnny."
Well, I remember Undertaker used to do that in his first back in WWF.
Yes.
Like when he would beat the jobber on Superstars or Wrestling Challenge, he'd always be sticking them in the body bag. And then when he was having his feud with Warrior that summer, like on the house show circuit, they were always like body bag matches. So,
Instead of get the tables, get the body bags.
Yeah. But
sorry.
so my thing is like I just don't think Hangman Page is the guy. I don't think he'll ever be the guy. Again, Hangman Page to me, it's like I'm gonna sound like the authority here. You're a B+ player, and B+ might be generous too. I don't think
I'm not a fan.
No, I'm not either. And like some people posted out like on Facebook, like I think it was this past week, screenshots of him sitting in front of Swerve's burning house that they did, like I think it was exactly a year ago. And I just posted a comment said, and now he's the champion. Cough. Because again, he was burning people's houses down, and now he's like a year later is like you want us to be him to be the big baby face. So it just and
This
he was
is
like,
what
he was threatening Swerve's baby and shit. It was so fucking weird. But
this is what happens when you book a storyline with Moxley, where you have a championship belt in a suitcase, or I'm sorry, not a suitcase, a briefcase, for months upon months. And
mhm.
then you have to, you have your two baby faces that are going to be going away soon because of injuries. So you got to do a role reversal, and you got to start pushing somebody that you can count on, and that's Hangman, because they can count on him, to put him in that role, which is, it's the pro wrestling way. Unfortunately, we've seen it time and time again, over and over again. But I do get what your point is. It's a bit frustrating with the the storytelling in regards to what they're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah. So it just I just don't think Paige is the guy. And look how bad the ratings have been the last couple of weeks. I'm not saying that's wholly on Paige, but it can't not be on Page. You know,
Yeah, I mean, the
I,
ratings
I
have
I
been.
don't think I don't. He's just not a needle mover. You know, it's like the one guy that I think that they really had on their roster, who I think was a needle mover, is now out for who knows how long. So
And that's who was that? Cassidy,
Osprey.
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 Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's going to be coming back soon.
Who? Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, it's not going to change much because he's not a fucking needle mover either. He's just an idiot. So the fact that people still like him is going to just shows why I can't stand AEW. But anyway, um, yeah, and so Riho came back, and they're going
Yes.
to do a program between Riho and Sasha. And I
Honestly,
po- and I posted
they
and I posted a comment on Cage Side T saying, "I'm sure there must be something worse than a Sasha Riho program, but I sure can't think of it right now." And then somebody posted a reply, the Young Bucks against Jericho and Moxley.
So
And I think I replied with the Cary Grant, "Get out, Jeff."
we know Rio's not going to win, but she's able to come back to the US, and they're just putting her with somebody that, she gets over with the crowd. So they're she's a pure baby face. You're just putting with
I
Mercedes. That's really the gist of it. The match will be okay, but
I
so
they need somebody different to put with her.
I kind
since
of
we are
disagree
talking
with your
about
premise.
Mercedes,
I kind of disagree with your premise that Riho gets over with the crowd. I really don't think she does.
so I know Mercedes got a pretty long contract, if I remember correctly, with AEW.
Mhm.
But how soon after that contract ends does she try and go back to WWE if Triple H is like, you know what, we would like to have you back. We think we can, work it out.
It, only if they
40%,
only
40%.
Mercedes, Sasha, I use
40%.
the terms interchangeably anymore.
There's a
She
40%
thinks,
chance.
she
That's
thinks
that's
she's
mine.
she thinks she's a much bigger star than she is. She would insist on being able to do things outside the company, which she felt that they were restricting her from. Like I guess she felt like they were even trying to she had to fight them tooth and nail on getting the Mandalorian role. Um, and she also seems to think that made her a big star. Sorry, it didn't. You were the eighth most important character on that show, if that. Um, so I don't know. It's really hard to say. It would depend upon them allowing her to do whatever she perceives as like I want to do things outside the company too, which is very weird how they're doing stuff like that right now. It's like some stuff they seem to be fine with and some stuff they seem to be not fine with. So it's really hard to say.
If it promotes the brand, I think they're all for it. If it doesn't, and it's just like a project that's all about you, they're a
Yeah,
little
I think
more
that's a good way.
restrictive on that and saying, okay, well, you know,
Well,
Yeah.
let's see how much
But
advertising
but
WWE
all
does with Street Fighter, because Cody and Roman are in that movie,
but also this of course would be the deciding factor is if she went back to WWE.
and Tony's going to pay her more.
Probably
Mhm.
because he can.
Yeah. See, the thing about it is like
And hey, WWE might get involved in a bidding war just to make him pay more money to keep her.
they could do that. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's a 40% chance that she goes back to WWE for all those factors. The money might be part of it. I think it'll be one part of it. Whatever, you know, storylines will be second part of it. You know, her freedom to do things outside of WWE will be the other part of it. And schedule wise will be the other aspect of it too. So
I was
those,
gonna say she might also have it in her head too that she's really over, or it really means something that she's carrying 9 belts.
well, I mean,
And
it's
obviously
the
she's not going to be able to do that in WWE.
no, I mean it's the Ultimo Dragon, the thing that she's doing right now, and the female version of it. And the other aspect is, these are wrestling promotions that are inviting her to wrestle for their promotion to win a belt to put them over. That's pretty much what it is.
And Tony is supposedly paying for her to be there, so it doesn't cost those companies anything. Except I would argue it does, because she's carrying those 9 belts out on TV all the time and everything. That's great. What are those belts? Like literally on the broadcast, because I have been watching, do they ever mention what those belts are on the broadcast?
No.
Because
They mentioned some of the promotions, but not they're
well,
not running down through all 9 belts.
all right. Well, that's my whole point then. If you're not saying what those belts are, then what are those companies getting? Oh, they're belts on TV, but nobody knows what they're what it is. Nobody
Yeah.
knows that
So
that's the IF fuck you, promotional title. So it's like if it's not being mentioned, it's not getting promoted. You're not getting any kind of a push from it. Nobody's hearing your company name, your fucking indie fed name. So it just seems like a waste of time to me. That's
so this is interesting. As I look around at this, and I'm glad I got a chance to. I'm glad I could find a way to watch it. So they're at a place that's about as big as the where we went to see. What the hell did we go to see though? All those years ago now, Joe. When we went to see
NXT.
TNA.
Oh, TNA
Uh,
at the Sands
TNA.
Casino.
Yeah, that's about as big a place that they're wrestling at right now.
So
But their
um,
setup is really weird around the ring. Like it's short on the one side, on two of the sides, and it's really big on the other two
are you
sides.
watching a recent episode?
I was gonna say,
Yeah, it's
so
the
Joe.
9-3 episode.
I was gonna say, so Joe, do you want to tell him?
They're in the ECW arena.
Are they?
Yeah,
Interesting.
they're in Philly at the 2600, 2300,
Whatever the
whatever it
hell it's
is.
called out, but it's everybody knows it as the ECW arena.
It's the
Yeah,
ECW
I didn't
arena.
realize that's where they were, but
Yes.
that's
They've been there for like the last like 2 weeks or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean ECW made it look bigger than what it was, but when you see it with all the lights on and stuff like that, that arena, that's place is really small, and it's about as big as the Bethlehem. They're at the at the Wing Creek. So
Yeah, the problem is Paul Heyman knew how to make that building look special for what it was and not make it really feel like he made it feel intimate, not small.
The other thing too is I know they've made
But
renovations in that place, so some of the
yeah,
stuff that you can't do like were able to do back in the day. So
yeah, but
those
the problem is a big company
renovations,
coming in and running is going to try to make it look like it's a world-class production, and that's not going to work in that building. That's why
yeah,
WWE has never run a big any kind of significant show there. I know they've run it for NXT.
yeah.
So it's just interesting to see how small. But we'll give credit to AEW. I know we're kind of going off of where you guys were going, but to give AEW a little bit of credit, at least they're in a venue that they can actually sell out, where they don't have to like black out areas to make it so you can't tell if there's people there or not. At least they're in a venue that they can fill up.
They've been doing better with their ticket sales as far as live events are concerned. It's just
They've been running smaller arenas and everything, but
yes.
whether
It's
how much I think that they had to, because I'm sure they were getting the cost of running the bigger arenas that they weren't filling up and making and having them look so empty and everything. I'm sure wasn't good. I mean, it does make them feel slightly minor league in a way. I mean, there's really no other way to say that. The fact that they moved the airtime of their show to the afternoon in 2 weeks shows that they're more concerned that people wouldn't watch their show over the WWE
I
show.
mean, I would be too. I'm not gonna lie.
I
I
would be
would have
too,
moved
but
it
at the
too.
same time, it's like because it was going to be on ESPN, it is going to cost people more to watch it. It was, so it was like the price difference wouldn't be as extreme. So it's like Alvarez, I think, was arguing that there was no reason for them to have moved it because he's like, if I'm a billionaire and I can absorb the cost, I want to find out.
You can't do it all the time though. They've already run head to head with them. It's not.
Not on pay-per-view.
Yeah, but you just don't want to run head to head with them at all.
I understood Alvarez's point. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not saying it's what I would have done, and I'm not saying Tony's wrong to have moved it, but being the one that blinks is never a good thing. Like remember years ago,
Yeah.
Batman v Superman, and I think it might have been Captain America Civil War, were originally scheduled to come out the same day. Which moved?
I don't fucking remember.
Batman v Superman moved. And I
Okay.
said, and I just said, well, DC's already given up the fight.
Yeah, I just for something like that, I would have blinked first too. Like I want to get the most out of my show. I don't want to have to be competing. Like I'm not trying to revisit the Monday Night Wars, especially when you're a 6-year-old company trying to go against a company that's been around since the 70s. So I'm like that's one of the things. I'm not trying to compete against them. I would have moved the times as well to get the most out of it.
But they've run more episodes than Nitro ever did, so they're obviously big league.
Yeah, I don't buy into a lot of that stuff. In
To
regards to
which I
that.
would, to which of course I would always say, yeah. And 30 years later, people still remember episodes of Nitro.
Yeah. And here's the thing, the other aspect as far as the venue is concerned, some of the venues, those bigger venues are charging 150, 200, $250,000 just to rent those venues. Where you go to the ECW arena or you go to the arena they go to, the one in Chicago, technically in Schaumburg, Illinois, they're probably only being charged 75,000 or 100,000 or 50,000 for some of these arenas to rent. So their profit's going to be more in the green than it would be running the bigger places. And they were struggling a bit. So it's fine to go to the smaller ones, save on the amount of money that you're spending to rent the place, and then try to maximize as much as you can.
And
Um,
and remember, with running in the ECW arena, it was probably cheaper because it was non-union.
yeah. But on the flip side, WWE does not have a lot of good storylines going on right now either. A lot of their shit's suspect. They've had some good PLEs with some good matches and whatnot, but some storylines feel like they're randomly put together. I like the only real storyline they have going on right now that's like worth watching is, Punk versus Rollins, which to me, I've mentioned before, I feel like that storyline should have taken a pause because they're both always going at each other no matter who they're wrestling. There's like they always find their way back to each other. But I feel like it was kind of getting exhausting, where I think they kind of needed to go their separate ways and then bring them back at some point. Hence,
They decided they needed to hotshot all this stuff with AJ because they want to make this, this ESPN show so big.
yeah, and I have also read that they've been kind of talking to AJ on and off for the past 7 months as well. So, but this is the timing for them to bring it back for their new WrestlePalooza show, whatever the case may be. Um, and from what I read, it's not a one-off, it's more of a semi-long-term thing. So we'll see what capacity that's at. But there needs to be an end to Seth Rollins and CM Punk. I don't give a shit who wins, but I think the end result, the final match between them for hopefully for a while will be WrestleMania. Instead of kind of giving them a break and coming back, I feel like you're just keep running and running, 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 running. Like I wasn't surprised that Becky was the one that helped Seth win the 4-way, but at the same time,
I gotta go downstairs.
okay. But at the same time, I was like, oh man, this is what they're going. but I just feel like it's getting a little exhausting with the two of them. Like
It
this
is.
rivalry going on since Punk came back, and what's that, 2 years ago? So we have this random on and off, we hate each other thing for well over 2 years, and it needs to come to a head, which it's going to be WrestleMania. It's probably going to be for the belt. If Rollins wins, great. If Punk wins, great. I just want the storyline to be good. And they kind of like they're teetering on that. Bringing AJ back to have a mixed tag with them is fine. I actually told, and to be honest with you, I had told AJ months ago when Becky came back and then she turned heel. Seth was already in his super heel mode with um Heyman and all that. And I'm like, don't be surprised if Becky stays this route and starts going to a super heel, that they put the two of them together, because they've really never done that with Becky and Seth. No, they've had a couple matches, I think, where they wrestled together and stuff, but like nothing with extreme content like this. I was like, this would be perfect for them to put her with that group as the fourth member of that. You have Judgment Day that has two females in there, technically three. You see more factions having at least one female in there. So it's kind of the trend per se. But I
Mhm.
said, husband and wife being super heels at the same time in a group together, working together would make sense. And here we are. This is what we're doing. So it's it's interesting. We'll see how the match goes with the tag. AJ's been training. She did the show on TV, Heels, where she was a part of that and wrestled in matches and things of that nature. But everything's a different aspect. We'll see how this plays out. It's September 20th, and what me and Pat were talking about earlier. We'll see what if my subscription allows me to watch it on September 20th, with all the old TKO, ESPN stuff changes.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch it either. I don't I don't know. I keep on getting advertisements for upgrading my subscription to the what is it, 26.99 a month subscription or something like that, I think it
20,
is.
supposed to be 29 if you want the
Yeah,
unlimited.
29. Yeah, so I'm just like streaming services are starting to slowly but surely now catch up to the cost of cable television.
And I told,
And streaming was supposed to be the cheaper alternative.
technically, as of right now, it still is to a certain extent. But as I mentioned to Pat earlier too, I said 10 years from now, don't be surprised if there's only two or three major cable companies throughout the whole US. I mean, I think streaming is really going to push that to where the cable companies are going to need to, the smaller ones will not be able to survive per se. So they will get bought out by the bigger ones. So the bigger ones will have a bigger customer base at that point.
Yeah,
So
it's one of those things like
just like everything else.
I never thought I might be going back to cable. Like not right now, like in the not in the near future, but in the possible 10 years down the road. Could be going back to cable when all these streaming services are so expensive because they just keep on combining this and combining that. It's one of those things like started off with Netflix and Hulu, which was cool because you could get Disney stuff, you could get certain shows. Hulu, you started being able to get shows the day after. You
Mhm.
couldn't watch them live, but you could watch them the day after. And then, oh, Disney's like, we're going to create our own streaming service, so now you have to pay for ours. Now, nice thing was Disney was only $4.99, so it was $5 to get theirs, and you can bundle it with Hulu now, which we because I think that's when Netflix came. I think that's when Disney came out with theirs. Is when they essentially bought Hulu and it's like, okay, we'll make it a bundle and you can just add us for $4.99. Um,
Yeah.
so I was like, sweet, and so I did that, and then there's Peacock came out with their streaming service, and then HBO had theirs, and Stars, and freaking what all the other Cinemax and all the. Well, I don't think Cinemax is around anymore. Is Cinemax around anymore? um,
Yeah, they still are, but not in that aspect.
but yeah, they all came out with their own. streaming services, and now if you that because they have their own now, it's like everything is you have to buy that streaming service if there's the one show you want to watch, you know.
Yeah, the one thing I mean, I have cable. One reason I have cable is because I have the sports entertainment package. No, not sports entertainment, the entertainment package with my rent, 75 bucks a month. I get high-speed internet, one one hookup, one dedicated like connection line, and the rest of my apartment's Wi-Fi set up. One TV cable box, but then I can download the app to all the other,
Hmm.
TVs, and watch TV on through the app. But I'll give you an example why I won't go back to normal cable. My parents have Spectrum for the basic, the cheapest cable for channels and the internet they have, which is pretty much the same speed as mine. They're paying $228 a month. And that's only one cable box. They only have one cable box. And I'm just like, I can't spend that much money for that. And then, with Spectrum, you get like the basic setup. Like, so on Spectrum right now, you can get the ESPN app, you can get Hulu, you can get Disney Plus, you can get HBO Max. Like, there's those apps that are included. So, I mean, that saves you money from getting those apps, but they're the basic ones where you have to watch the ads and all that shit. So, if you're fine with that, kudos. Like, that's the extra perk. But it all depends on what your budget is and what you want to watch, what you don't watch, and all that stuff. So it's definitely one of those type of things. Yeah. I mean, if I add up all my streaming services, how much I pay, probably paying like $100 right now for all of them, monthly for the most part. So it's whatever fits best for
Yeah.
you. But even DirecTV for their boxes and their satellite, it's super expensive as well. And I just can't. I can live on having good internet and streaming services, to be honest. I'll put a freaking one of those antennas on my TVs so I can
Digital antennas.
the digital antenna to get the local channels. That doesn't listen, that's what I did when I first moved down here. I went and bought a digital antenna, and where I had the TV, I had it hooked up and I tuned it and I had the local channels for like the local weather and stuff like that. And that was fine. And then I just watched my streaming apps and everything else to
Yeah.
watch other stuff.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's interesting how streaming services evolved, how much, and it's not like it's a ton, but the percentage, if you look at the percentages that they've gone up by,
Oh yeah. I mean the big
is actually quite a huge percentage. Like some of them gone up over 100% in their cost
yeah, and the
from when they
biggest
first
thing
started.
and the biggest thing too with them, like a lot of them are creating their own content.
Yes.
So they're making these big budget shows, big budget movies with these actors that are well-known actors. So, you know, the prices are going up because they gotta pay for some of that stuff too. So
Yeah, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't increase their cost because like you said, as they start to evolve things and things become a little bit different and the shows and all that stuff, they do have to be able to cover that cost. And the amount, when streaming first came out, like everybody jumped on it, and it slowly but surely kind of leveled itself off. So they have to, if they're not getting continuously new customers at the rate at which they were, they have to figure out a way to supplement that by, oh, well, we need to raise the cost. And it's the way that markets work. Cost increases as things evolve, and
and one of
you know,
them, I forget which streaming service. I just got an email for them that their service is going up $3 a month soon. I forget which one it was. And I was like, oh, I was like, well, I don't have the high end version of that one. I have the lower end. So it's not going to be that much of a difference, but still,
well,
three
yeah, and
bucks is pretty
Netflix.
significant.
And it's funny because I was just thinking about this. Every once in a while, I get an ad for Netflix when I put it on the TV, and it's like their 4K version, their 4K streaming version instead of like the regular HD streaming version. They had the 4K streaming. I'm like, Yeah, I'm okay. I don't need a 4K. I'll stick with the regular HD
Yeah,
streamer.
the HD is fine. Like the 4K is not awfully needed per se.
Yeah. But Prime's interesting. Prime started off and they have different levels of subscriptions too for their streaming service. It used to be the original Prime. You anything that was theirs, except for maybe like the TV shows that they put out, had no ads. Like the movies had no ads. Now their movies, unless you get the upgraded Prime subscription, all have ads in them. Some of them are a lot depending on the movie. Some of them are very little. But it's just like interesting how Prime has gone to commercials now for all of their content,
Hey,
unless you have the upgraded premium Prime
Yep.
subscription.
sorry to interrupt. I gotta run. My sister's dog is not having a good time. That's what I had to run down for. I heard her knock over her dish and she knocked her food all over the goddamn living room. And then I had to go put her out real quick. And so now I gotta go take it out because my sister and brother-in-law just got home and they're probably just gonna start yelling. So gotta run. See you guys later.
Okay.
All right, take care of that dog.
Yeah, bye.
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 Oh, I feel bad for him in this situation. Yeah,
Because the question is, what would they do if Pat wasn't there for the dog?
I know. I had to come home to a mess. You know. Yeah, it's streaming will be. I mean, look at Netflix too. They have games on there now. So
Mhm.
Netflix has their games, Prime has their games. You know, there's small stuff that they're like adding into there to try to get extra revenue. I mean, I get it. Um, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Um, so you have not watched Peacemaker then, have you? Season two.
I have not.
I'll briefly talk about it.
I know he's traveling to the multiverse. I know he's traveling through the multiverse.
Yeah,
That I got from the preview.
so that little room that is where he has all the stuff, all those other doors are other Earths. So there's 99, they specified there's 99 doors. So that Earth he's on plus the other 99, so there's 100. Um, so he finds another Earth where, if you don't mind me spoiling stuff, it's up to you.
Go ahead.
So he finds another Earth where he's actually a beloved hero. His dad's a good guy, his brother's still alive, and they form a trio superhero group. And they live in this big house, and they have a library in this house. It's like a mini mansion. Um, and the blonde chick, um, he has a relationship with in that world. So what he's looking for as far as being a recognized hero on the current earth that he is in is not what he's getting. So he keeps traveling back to that. Um, and then Rick Flag Sr., every time he opens a door, an anomaly shows up. So they want to know what it is, this, that, next thing. That's we're going to word his storyline. So it's a struggle of him. It seems like, deciding which earth he really wants to be on and other things. I I watched episode 3 yesterday. It comes on every Thursday, a new episode. I don't know though. I don't know if I like it. Like I'm watching it, but I don't know how I should say, I don't know how much I like it. I don't know if it's a 9 or if it's a 7 or if it's a 5.5. I mean, there's some cool, I mean, they retcon some stuff, at the end of last season one, remember he drags after everything happens, he's carrying her out and he sees like the Justice League, right?
Yeah, he's like, oh, now you guys show up or whatever he said.
So this year they're like a year ago today, or probably months ago, they retcon it. And it's the Justice Gang from this new Superman movie where Superman's here, Supergirl's here, Mr. Terrific's over here next to Superman, and then the Green Lantern and I'm missing
Hawk
somebody
Girl.
else, Hawk Girl, yes. So they had this where there's this weird interaction between him and Hawk Girl, him and Green Lantern at the end of season one retcon. So they retconned it for that. So, and yes, Green Lantern's in the first episode. They're looking for new members and they interview him. And there's some silly thing where they think they're turning off the comm, but it really doesn't turn off all the way. And they're sitting there talking shit. It's like Green Lantern, Hawk Girl, and
I saw
and
that. I saw
Maxwell
that preview.
Lord or whatever it is. What's his name is playing
'Cause
Maxwell Lord.
it's like digitized, like it sounds like it's supposed to be off, but it like the
Yeah.
malfunctions.
Yeah. So they're like talking shit the whole time. Um, so there's some funny things into it, but this year seems to be very story driven, but I'm just not, I'm not, I'm not,
Not enjoying the story.
yeah, I'm not, I'm on the fence with it. Some moments I'm like, oh, really cool. Some moments I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes the rest of the season. From what I've read is like the last three episodes make it seem like it's its own season. So that kind of, I'm not sure how to take that, if that should worry me or not. Like, at what point are we kind of like flipping the script and why are the last three episodes feel like it's its own season? Like, what are you
Mhm.
guys doing? I don't know. But yeah, it's a weird aspect in regards to that. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm on the fence. I'm just not sure how much I like it or don't like it per se.
Yeah.
It's a little bit off. It's different in regards to it. Uh, I mean, he kills his doppelganger, which is funny, um, and whatnot. But oh, and then he makes a comment when he gets to the other universe. Like, I guess that version of Peacemaker has like this bougie style of dress. To give you an example of what the shirts The Rock was wearing, his heel rock, he has shirts like that in his closet. The Peacemaker does this alternate in the other universe. So he makes a comment when he puts on his clothes and he goes, he's leaving the meet the blonde girl. I can't remember her name for the top of my head. And he's like, why does my closet have so many like something clothes like the Kardashians? And his brother's like, who's the Kardashians? He's like, really? He's like, who's the Kardashians? He's like, never mind. There's no Kardashians in this world, but uh yeah, it's interesting. There's moments like that that are funny. There's like some funny moments and some cool stuff, but there's a lot of stuff going on where I'm just not sure where it's leading to pretty much for the most part.
So how do you like the Rock's transformation? He stopped taking all his PEDs. It's slimmed down by about 50 pounds.
Well, I mean, I wasn't surprised. I was actually wondering how much of he was going to slim down for that role because I'm familiar with that guy. Um, being an MMA person, like I'm familiar with like his journey. So I'm like, how much is he going to slim down to play the part when he becomes an addict? So yeah, he slimmed down a lot. So that was like, holy shit. So it's kind of like, I don't know how much of I don't know how much of WWE time he really would have been able to do because of that slim down. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting.
People were like if you read like people were like concerned, they're like, what's wrong with The Rock? Like there's nothing wrong with him. He lost weight and he probably stopped taking all his supplements, which are, which he's been on because I'm sorry, at the age of whatever he is now, 52, 53 years old, most guys, not saying all,
You could
most
take
guys
listen,
do not, you lose muscle mass just because that's what happens with the body,
testosterone
regardless amount of
levels,
protein you take, all that
muscle
stuff.
mass, age. Yeah,
You don't stay that big naturally anymore.
not in the cut manner that he always has been. Like, yeah, I've seen videos where he shows like what he eats throughout the course of the day and what he's eating, he needs to eat to be the size he is and how cut he is. Um, so yeah, if he's taking HGH, whatever, testosterone supplement, I don't really care. But you could tell his food intake had to be way different and all that stuff. So he had to train his body to get down to that. But yeah, that's he's lost a significant amount of muscle mass as well
Yeah.
for that.
But yeah, because if you look at Cena, Cena's still big, but he's not as big as what he was in the WWE.
Now, does he
Like,
take
and
something? Maybe, but at the same aspect, you can tell that even if he does still take something of some effect, it's not a big volume of it because he would be more ballooned up than what he is
yeah,
right now.
right. You can tell he is more natural. I'll say more natural because we don't know if he's completely natural. But you can tell his body is starting to look like the body of somebody who is aging gracefully and able to maintain a somewhat similar physique to what he had in WWE. But you can tell it's not the same physique because he is not as big as he was in WWE. Does he look muscular still? Hell yeah. But that's because since he's been part of WWE, he has always been on that regimen of massive workouts, high weight, high intensity. Like he's always done that. Like they've shown not vignettes, but behind the scenes of him doing that. Like
Yeah.
that's just the kind of person he is. And we know The Rock's the same way, but The Rock was huge, like still, like hugely muscular and cut. So it's just very different when you look at those two side by side. And plus, The Rock is what, almost 10 years older?
The Rock was born in 72.
And Cena's, I think, my age,
He's
like
he
47, 48.
the Rock's 5 years older than me, so he turned 53 in May. His birthday's May 2nd. Oh, that's my wedding anniversary. May 2nd.
Cena,
Um, Cena is, I think, my age, I believe.
so 48.
Yeah. Let me double check.
Okay, so he's only a couple years younger than The Rock, not much.
Yes. Cena was born April 23rd in 77, so he's my age. He's 48. Yeah. So you could tell like the Rock's 5 years older, and you look at the body physique. I mean, listen, genetics plays a part of it too, absolutely, but genetics only goes so far in regards to how you look and whatnot.
Right.
Oh,
Well, let's
and
take a look
and
at this. If you look at
Brock
The Rock
Lesnar.
when he played football and when he first started in WWE, there's a very big difference in the type of physique that he had.
Hmm. So I just looked. I wanted to see how old Brock was because I know Brock is also the same age as me. He was born July 12th, 77. So he's 48. And you see him come back on SmackDown, like he's definitely been working out because his arms are more jacked. Yeah, he's always fucking jacked, but he definitely is more jacked than he was the last time he showed up on WWE.
Hmm.
So, and listen, he's at an age of, he might have a high testosterone level just because of, his genetics and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean even at 48, you can always have a little boosted health. I'm going
Hmm.
to tell you right now.
Yeah.
So,
For some of these guys, it's
and
they don't
there's
want
nothing wrong
to.
with it.
There's nothing wrong with it, and as long as they're doing it with a medical professional. I'll say that with a medical professional, not just like in the 80s, it was like all about like going to the doctor and getting my, you know, stuff, and they were doing it not the health. If there is a healthier way to do it,
There is.
they were definitely not doing it. They were getting the anabolic steroids, they were shooting up in their ass, and that some of these guys go to actual doctors and they work with a doctor based on blood work and stuff like that. Where do they want to be? Are they just trying to maintain what they already have? Do they want to put a little extra on? Like they're working with medical professionals to try and do it in a safe manner, the safest manner possible, with the limited amount of side effects as possible.
And
Um,
and
so
there
it's very different in just going like the old school way of like, you
yeah,
know.
I mean, there here's the thing, and steroids has such a bad stigma in regards to it. there is a safe way to do steroids. You got to get your blood work. You got to figure out which type of testosterone you're going to be using for your blood work, what you're looking to do, stuff like that. Because your testosterone level has to be at a certain point. And then your estrogen also has to be at a certain point because your estrogen blocks your testosterone from becoming massive or whatever you're looking for. So your estrogen and testosterone levels have to be complement each other to get where you want to be. So the blood work is important if it's done monthly. I think monthly is what you're supposed to do that. So that's how it really works. I mean, there's listen, put it this way. In bodybuilding now, 90% of bodybuilders take steroids at some aspect.
Mhm.
And you get your bodybuilding card and your pro cards and all that stuff, and they know you're taking steroids. But a lot of them people, those bodybuilders, are doing blood work. And there's various versions of steroids, and each one does something a little bit different. Some mix them together. As long as you're doing your blood work, then you'll be okay. Your side effects will be very minimal, and you'll
Yeah.
be able to still do what you want to
Well,
do.
and it's funny because there was a time period in bodybuilding where steroids, they were like testing for steroids, and you couldn't you were disqualified if you came back with positive testing for steroids and stuff like that. But what happened in bodybuilding is the guys started being less big, they started being smaller. The viewership of that, whether it was the live viewership, TV viewership, whatever it was, went down. People were not coming because the whole purpose of bodybuilding, not the whole purpose, but what people want to see when they go to watch a bodybuilding show, the people that are interested in is they want to see these massive hulking people, whether they're guys or girls. That's what they want to see. And when that started to change and bodybuilders looked naturally muscular instead of steroid muscular, and I hate to just say steroids, but that's what they are. That's what most of them took back, especially back in the 80s. Um, they were like, okay, we got to let it, and we're gonna know that it's gonna happen. We're gonna make sure that whatever we need to do or say, is that people are doing it a safer way, or however they started to control that and put that in place, because they knew they could not continue down the road that they were without having these massive beasts on stage showing what they got. So
And
they
and
went back to it and said, okay, it's going to be what it's going to be.
and a lot of things too is like a lot of the times when they take steroids now, it's only during a competition. So like if they have a competition, say in August, they'll start their steroid regimen in May, and they'll be on a cycle until the competition. And once the competition's done, they go off the cycle and they kind of get themselves back to normal. And when they have another competition, they gotta do their cycle.
Right.
So some of them go on and off in regards to it just to be for the competition. Some stay on it, but they take less milliliters of this, or they use the more not so amped up steroid. I'll just
Right.
put it in that test steroid. I'll put it that way because a lot of females do it too. And they listen, they're bodybuilders. There's a lot of categories now for the women where it's not just like the hulking bodybuilders, like the bikini stuff and other things where they're bigger, but they don't look ridiculous. They still look attractive and they look really good for what they're doing. So it's a different world. And the other problem too is like with steroids, they have such a bad stigmatism of certain things like track and field, the Olympics, bodybuilding, the shit that happened in baseball. But the other aspect too is like people don't get that a lot of these steroids or performance enhancing drugs, like a lot of it doesn't give you muscle. Like that's the crazy part. Like there are those performance enhancing drugs that are just really made for recovery, help with injuries. It doesn't
Mhm.
really add like so I'll give you an example. Like
Yeah,
if
not all
you're
of it's made to give you an advantage in a given situation.
correct, like the ones that help for recovery and stuff like those type of steroids, like they might increase your muscle mass by 0.5%, where you're taking a normal HGH uh or T-REN or D-ball, whatever, that's going to increase your muscle mass by 10%, not something that's less than 1%. But, in the sports world, anything that gives you a percentage, if it's 0.1, performance enhancing drugs, you're gonna hit like 100 fucking home runs. No, a lot of that stuff. That's why I'm not really so mad at the baseball players for that time frame. Yeah, some of them took some of the stuff that made them bigger, but there's still more stuff that goes into it to keep that going and whatnot. A lot of them
So with
took in
baseball,
like Rafael Palmeiro, like he got busted, but he wasn't taking it to be bigger. He was taking it for recovery reasons because he was older. But since it was performance enhancing because he was recovering faster, some of the pitchers were using that shit to recover faster from injuries. That's why they were taking it. It really had nothing to do with them trying to get big. They were being injured because of their age and they were trying to get back on the field faster.
yeah,
So that's
for
where I'm like, I
baseball.
don't I don't get mad really about the whole steroid era in baseball.
So with baseball, the one thing I will say, at least from a batting perspective, steroids, yes, it will help you in the sense of if you make contact with the ball, is there a higher chance, especially if you're using it to get stronger, is there a higher chance that you can knock the ball out of the park? Of course. But with baseball, the other end of that is batting percentages are not that high. That like the what is the highest batting percentage? I think was almost 400 by one person. Like,
Yeah, I
and
mean, back
it's
then the batting average for a lot of people was higher than what it is today. But the same aspect too, like you have to go back and look to see like how the bats were made, what's happened. Because people don't realize too that the baseball is made a certain way. And sometimes they change the way the ball is made to either get more home runs or reduce home runs.
mhm.
So, there's a whole aspect into the way they make baseballs. So it's that aspect too. The bats, the type of bats, things that those all change. But yeah, you have an advantage where you might hit a couple more home runs off the end of your bat or lower down on your bat because you're stronger. But we've also seen a lot of strong, big dudes who can make contact on a ball and still not hit a lot of home runs, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
So it's just
Because
it's one of those things.
you still have to be a good baseball player to put the bat on the ball. And if you're
Yes.
not, you can take all the steroids you want, and you're not going to become
Yeah.
an
Steroids don't make
Hall
you
of
hit the
Famer.
ball,
No.
actually hit the ball. Can they help you hit the ball when you hit the ball further when you hit it? Of course. But you still got to be able to hit the ball. That is probably the hardest part of baseball is hitting the ball because it's a duel between you and the pitcher. Can the pitcher outpitch you? Can you guess his pitch and know where that ball is going? That is I think a lot of people downplay baseball as like, oh, it's such an easy sport to play. Yeah, sure. If you're talking about like the fielding and stuff like that, sure, that's an easier aspect of the game.
Yeah,
It's less
hitting's not.
intense, but the hitting and the pitching are the two hardest aspects of the game. And it's funny, I came across this guy talking about sports and like what's the hardest sport to play, and the guy said basketball, and I
That's a joke.
commented because I was very interested in what his take was. Like, because his take didn't make any sense as far as like basketball is the hardest sport to play. I'm like, okay, like it's an interesting thing. And he's like, don't even come at me with baseball. He's like, I can learn to catch a baseball and throw a baseball and hit a baseball. I'm like, okay, sure, okay, I get that. And he's like, in hockey, he started talking about hockey. I'm like, the first thing that came to my mind when I was listening to this guy is, tell me you've never played a sport at a high level or coached a sport for kids to be able to play it to understand how difficult it is to play any sport. Because all sports, in my personal opinion, have their own level of difficulty and certain niche things that are in every sport that make them difficult.
Listen, I mean, hockey
But
is hockey. You got to learn, like, hockey's the craziest of the four major sports because you have to lace up ice skates and learn how to skate on ice to play that sport. Like, learning how to ice skate is not easy. You could do it, but you know, there's learning how to skate forward, sideways, stop on a dime, skate backwards. Now you have all this equipment on. Now you have a stick in your hands, shooting a puck. Like, it's not easy to do that stuff. So I think it's hilarious that he would pick basketball as the hardest sport to play when it's clearly the easiest of the four.
so So it's funny because, and I don't know if it was he was trying to be satirical with it, but so I asked the question. I just in his comment section, I just asked, "Are you talking about the ability to pick up and play the sport, or are you talking about being really good at a sport, meaning like going like to a collegiate or pro level?"
Yeah.
And he did clarify. He commented back and he said he's like not talking about pickup ball, talking about pro ball. Okay, so when it comes to pro ball, if you're talking about being good enough to make the pros, sure. Basketball is probably the hardest sport to go pro in just because the number of people that are on a team. But there
Yeah.
are the European leagues, there's the G League. G League is still pro because you're getting paid to play.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of other avenues that basketball players have now than just going to the NBA where they are still considered a pro player and still making money off of it. So that has changed quite drastically. There's a lot of pro basketball players now. But the thing, and I didn't want to get into a bit debate with somebody on TikTok, so I was just like, okay, I got my clarification. I know where he's going with this. I had a better idea. But if you think about any sport, the easiest sport to pick up and start learning is basketball.
Mhm.
And this is coming, just so everybody knows, I know I said this probably a million times, this is coming from a basketball coach. Okay, has coached basketball. We've played basketball. From being able to pick up a ball and learn how to play the game from a basics level of how to dribble, how to shoot, how to play defense, how to play offense, it is the easiest sport to pick up and learn. Now, if you're talking about going to the pro level, yes, you have to be a really good shooter. You need to be able to play defense. You need to be able to understand defensive sets that the other team is running. You need
You need
to
to have a
understand
high,
offense.
you need to have a higher IQ level
You have
to
to,
get
yes, you have to have
to
a
the higher
higher,
levels.
right. And I 100% agree with all those things. That's where the difficulty comes in because you're not just playing offense. Like in football, you learn an offensive skill. You're not just playing defense and learning a defensive skill. Okay. But the other thing that goes along with football, so we'll jump into football. Football is yes, from being a pro player, you are specialized in one particular spot. Okay. But you also have to be highly intelligent in football, and people think that linemen are some of the dumbest people in football. They're actually some of the smartest people in football because you need to understand all the different type of blocking schemes that you have.
Yep.
You have to you have to know the count, and a lot of these teams now use silent counts. If you watch the Eagles, and I'll give you a chance, the way that they communicate the hike for the Eagles is the guard slaps the center on the ass or on the back.
They all
That's how
have
they
their own
communicate the
things.
snap because they and I think a lot of teams started doing this, but that's how they communicate, for the Eagles. College, I see a lot of guys use claps. High schools are starting to use claps as the cadence for hike me the ball. So you have, and then on top of that, as an offensive lineman, you have to understand defensive schemes. Like they don't just go in and like, okay, this is what I do. I block this guy, block guy, block guy.
You have
It's
your
not
A
that.
gap and you have your B gap at the same time. You have to understand the coverage just being in front of you, who's lined up in front of you as far as the defensive lineman, which linebackers are showing like they're going to blitz.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to back off,
Right.
based off tendencies and things of that nature? How are they lining up? Are they going to pull a stunt on you? Like who's blocking who? They have to when you line up, they're talking like, all right, we know what our offensive line is for the specific play, but at the same time, we got to look at the D line. Who's the guys, who's in front of the center? Who's to the left? Who's to the right? The left and right side of the line have to talk to each other, but like, all right, we're helping, this. They're calling things out of who they're going to block, who they're going to help, so on and so on, to make sure that the offensive play can happen properly. You know, so it's kind of like there's a lot of aspect to it, which is people just don't get. You know, Eh, so it's challenging. You still have to have a high IQ no matter what fucking position you play in football too.
Yes. And it's funny because if you ever watch football, when they're standing up and pointing out stuff, that's what they're doing. And that splits that like 2 seconds before they get down in their stands,
You got
they
to
are
figure it
calling
out.
out da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, because they know based on what they're doing, this is who's important to block and know where they're coming from. Like like any sport, anybody who plays a sport, and hockey too. Like hockey, you have to be able to play offense and defense. Some guys are better at it than others, but
You have
it's
two defensemen, but everyone has to play defense. That's not just
yes,
something where
just
just
those two
because you
guys. Hey,
have
we're just gonna hang here.
defensemen.
You guys
uh,
cover everybody else.
you you have to play. Everyone has to play defense in some aspect, way
Yeah,
more than that person on the basketball level, but more
yeah,
because how fast the puck moves and stuff like that.
right.
It's more
And as my son,
challenging.
and it's funny, as my son is learning more about baseball, I'm learning more about baseball because I'm not going to try and coach baseball because I just don't know enough about it. I know the basics of baseball, and I will always admit that. But I'm learning stuff with him, and I'm learning with him so I can help him when we're away from the field, and he wants to practice on his own. But there is a lot more into baseball than people realize too. Like knowing, learning signs is a big thing. Like understanding what the your third base coach is saying, sending out, the manager sending out, whoever it may be. Um, Decision making has to be high. Have to have a high IQ for decision making as you go up in the levels.
Yep.
Um, Once again, the toughest position to be in is pitcher because trying to outpitch the hitters. Being a batter is a very hard spot to be in because most hitters hit about 250 at the max.
And think about
If you
this
get to
too.
300, you're like an elite batter anymore.
Think about this. The other most important uh, player on the field for baseball is the catcher.
Catcher needs to know everything that's going on. And it's
Yep.
funny because that's one of the positions right now my son loves the most is playing catcher.
Because you're the catcher. You're depending on how the setup is, like you got to know your pitcher's tendencies. You got to know like all the pitches they throw. You got to know like which pitches are more successful at. You
What
got to
is the
know
batter like?
you got to know the batter that's coming up, like what pitches he's good at hitting, which pitches he's not good at hitting. Pulling the signs. So you guys are on the same page, everything like that. So there's like yeah, you know, and the fielders anymore, you see them pulling out cards. They're just pulling out cards because, you know, to make sure their alignment is proper in the outfield of like, okay, Kyle Schwarber's coming up, so I need to take 10 steps back in the outfielder because, his if he's not in a home run, anything to the outfield is going to be, hit pretty hard, or it's going to hit if I'm too far in, I'm going to be backtracking and it's going to be over my head, stuff like that. So yeah, all the fielders do have like those cards and stuff for adjustments, but the pitcher and the catcher and the batter, those that's the thing, man. Trying to, not just swing your bat to hit the fucking make contact. You're some people are those contact people that are trying to hit it to left field, trying to hit it into the gap over here. When they make their swing and they're moving their shoulder or something, like their wrist a little bit differently to get the ball going this way instead of this way. There's a lot of shit that goes into baseball
Yeah.
in regards to that
So
aspect.
so my biggest take from this guy's video that I saw, and and the best way I can explain it is he's evidently somebody who's played sports. Like not at a high level, maybe high school, but never beyond high school. And has his knowledge of playing high school sports and is like, okay, well, basketball was the hardest sport for me to learn because there was a lot more things that I had to know at any given moment in a split second. Okay, sure, that makes complete sense. Especially if maybe basketball was the only sport that you played in high school. Maybe the other sports you only played through the youth leagues, you know. But just to generally say basketball overall is the hardest sport to learn is a crazy statement to make by anybody, whether you're a pro or not. Because if you haven't played those other sports at a high level, you don't understand the things that go into making somebody that really, really efficient and really high level player in
Yeah.
any sport. Because, like I said, every sport has their nuances and certain players in certain positions that are super hard to learn and super hard to do. So, but so, like I said, it was very interesting to hear a blanket statement like that. Um, Speaking of
Yeah.
baseball, did you
Mhm.
see the sweet Astros pitcher that deliberately hit his catcher in the freaking chest with a ball because he was mad because the pitcher, because the catcher, once again, catcher has to be the smartest person on the diamond. He told his pitcher to step off. He knew could step off without getting like a balk call or anything like that. Told him to step off so he could reset the pitch, whatever pitch they were going to throw, whatever the situation was that the catcher realized this is not a good situation, and his freaking pitcher threw a meatball and gave up a grand slam. And then he beams. I've never seen that happen. He beamed his catcher. Like the catcher called for a pitch. He threw a different pitch and is like, that's not where that pitch was going. And I saw people like, well, he could have just moved his glove. When you're set up for a certain type of pitch as a catcher and the pitch does not come in where it's supposed to, you know how fast you have to be to adjust? Like, that's the same thing with a batter. If a batter doesn't pick up the pitch that they want to swing at, they don't swing. And they're like, oh shit, I should have swung at that one because it comes so fast. What is it, like a 0.3 of a second to be able to make a decision on a pitch in the major leagues or something stupid like that? I know we can look it up. I'm just making up a number right now, but
yeah,
it's
close
like,
enough.
Oh, he could have just moved his glove. No,
It's not that simple, people. People don't get it. They just don't get it.
it's just like, and I'm just thinking and you could see the look the catcher gives. I'm sure you saw that play. You see the look the catcher gives. He's like, what the fuck was that? And then the pitcher's just like, that's what you fucking get. You fucking give. No, you threw a fucking meatball. Like, whether that was the pitch that you wanted to throw or not, the catcher told you to step off because he's like, I think we got the wrong pitch. And you fucking threw a meatball. Like, that thing was dead center.
And you threw the pitch anyway, and you gave up a grand slam. Hence, shut the fuck up.
That was like, when I saw that pitch, I'm like, that is the pitch that every batter dreams of. It was down, it was low, over the middle. That was a home run ball any day of the week by pretty much any hitter.
That's not even a swing you have to put any like super effort into. That's just like a normal striding swing, and that ball's leaving the ballpark. So yeah. Fucking people. Yeah.
Crazy. All right.
Yep.
It is. Damn, it's late. Got late quick. All right.
Yeah, I'm kidding. Me and Pat were on for a while. We made fun of you like always since you weren't here.
I know. Well, my errand turned into a lot longer than what I thought it was going to be. I literally thought I'd be out of the house like a half hour, but that was not the case.
It's all good. But yeah, we can close out for the day.
Call it a day. All right. Well, we want to thank everybody for watching. When you watch this, if you watch this, hopefully you do.
Jeremy, you better. No.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. A lot of wrestling talk, some sports talk, all good stuff. But hopefully it was entertaining. We appreciate you, and we hope you finish with us.